Something I wanted to kind of talk about was approaching girls. What's so funny is I was actually talking with some of my friends about this, and they don't like the concept of approaching girls if we go out. If we go out to bars or wherever we go, and I disagree with them completely. I think, it's important how you approach them, but as to whether or not you should approach, you definitely should. If you find someone attractive, you should definitely approach them and see what happens. How else are you going to meet them? And what a better way to meet them than in an environment that's conducive to socialization? But so many of them, they say things like, "Oh, it's not my style. That's not how you do it." Things like that. And yet, I've had more success with that than them in a much shorter period of time by approaching girls and actually starting up conversations with them, talking to them, and getting to know them, and them getting to know me. In fact, I'll be going on a date later this week from a girl who I made an approach last weekend, and yeah, set up a date and a time, and we'll see how things go. But that's how I got my last girlfriend. That's how I've dated almost all of the girls that I have actually dated. That's how I was able to get them, is actually making an approach. It's amazing to me though. Like, one of our friends, he he met his current girlfriend, and they've been together about a year now. Good for him. But he met his current girlfriend on Hinge, which is a dating app if you're not familiar. But it's kind of a little bit different than Tinder, but they're all kind of the same. But he met her on Hinge, and I'm pretty sure he met some of the other girls he was talking to before on Hinge and or on different dating apps. And it's like, well, that's not really experience. I mean, yes, the dating apps can be useful tools to give you a little bit more of an advantage in the dating market, but overall, they don't really work for guys. You have a horrible statistical chance on there, and even when girls do swipe right on you, even when they do reply to some of your messages, at least my experiences, so many of them are going to flake. They're not going to show up. They're going to come up with excuse after excuse. It's just atrocious. In my opinion, my opinion is the dating apps are worthless. And honestly, if a girl could get a date, they wouldn't be on the app. That's my opinion. Guys have it a little bit harder because it's kind of put on us that we should make the approach. And I agree with that. Like, why would you not want to? Why would you not want to? If you see someone who you find attractive, why would you not want to make an approach and see what happens? See if they like you. And then you kind of you don't really get your pick entirely, but you kind of get your pick in a sense. Like, you find someone who you think will be attractive, and you initiate it. I don't see why I don't see why the other guys don't see it the way I do, but and it's kind of turns it into a game. This is one reason they call it game. It's because you start to learn different ways of talking. You start to learn saying different things, getting a different responses, and seeing what works and what doesn't. I don't think it's as important to say a specific line as it is how you say it, the vibration that you're in as you're talking to them, the energy you're putting off. If you're putting off a really calm energy and something that's not going to make them any more anxious than they already would be from let's be honest, a stranger who's stronger than them approaching them. Because as a guy, I don't know what it's like to be attracted to someone who's stronger than me. Maybe want them to approach me, but there's always that fear there. So it's important to also come across as non-threatening. So all of these things, you kind of think about, And then you also want to be, playful. You also want to be funny because that helps show your intelligence level. And so there's a lot of things to consider, but I think it's important to be in the right vibration when you approach them. And then it helps to bring it together. So it doesn't really matter what you say, and it doesn't even matter if you say it wrong. In fact, sometimes you can play along with that and turn it into somewhat of a joke. I've gone up to some girls recently, and something I've been trying is just asking them what the best pickup line they've ever heard is, and then I throw them a couple and see how they respond, and try to get a laugh or two out of it. Because, and you jokingly say, yeah, they're cringe and whatever, but they're funny. So, what's the best one? What's the worst one? And it just gets a conversation going. Now, I also think when you're starting to talk to them, you kind of want to read them a little bit, trying to pick up like, okay, is there something I can compliment? And it has to be, you want it to be a genuine compliment, not just, oh, you're so beautiful. Like compliment, I would say compliment something they put in effort to, and that they appreciate that. They really do. Because I've done that and they appreciate it. Another thing about the direct approach, I literally had this happen when we were out one night, not too long ago, pretty much just after I had to break up with my girlfriend, now ex, I approached a girl and she told me, she was just like, to be honest, you're not my type, but I genuinely appreciate that you approached me. And she said, because someone else before me, I guess, had their friend approach her. And she told me that the guy who had his friend approach was actually a Marine. And she actually took offense to that. She's like, so you're willing to go to war, but you're too scared to approach. And it was like, you could tell she appreciated the confidence to actually make an approach. And it is scary because, to an extent. Because the thing is that when you're rejected, it feels bad because it's like, what's wrong with me? What did I do wrong? All these thoughts start to come to you, and it does feel bad. And it's like, well, maybe I'm lower on the status level than I was hoping, in trying to figure out all of those things. But there's a lot of factors that you can't control that are going on with her. Maybe, it could be she genuinely has a boyfriend. It could be she's genuine. Sometimes this happens. She's genuinely a lesbian. It could be she's genuinely, maybe she just broke up and is out with friends. Who knows? There's a lot of factors you simply can't control. Maybe something just happened earlier that night. She's still out. Something just happened earlier that night, and she's still upset about it, but because her friends are there, she didn't leave. There's a lot of factors that you cannot control, that you don't know what's going on. And so I think that's important to think about too, to try not to take offense. Because if you take offense, you're never going to get anywhere. It's just like, to me, and one of the biggest reasons to continue to make approaches is because it's the same principle as going to the gym or studying for a test, doing anything that's worthwhile. You have to keep doing it to get better at it. Like when you fly a plane, when you're learning how to fly a plane, they make you do a lot of takeoffs and landings so that when you're training, you know exactly what to expect, you know how to manipulate the controls, how to do everything. If anything goes wrong, at least hypothetically, you should be well prepared to handle it. So, and you can only get to that level. You can only get better by continuously doing it. And so it's the same with approaches. This is what I don't understand about my friends. We were literally out the other night, and my one friend, I guess he was looking he was actually making eye contact with this girl. I wasn't aware of it. And what he wasn't going to approach. He was just going to sit there. It's like, well, there was 3 of us and 3 of them. Someone has to make the opening move. So I go over, I start talking to him. Well, it didn't really work out that well, but we were able to eliminate it much faster because I made an approach. It did go over kind of well initially, but it turns out she wasn't into it, so it's just like we were able to eliminate her a lot faster than playing these games, you know. Personally, what I do, like if I go out and a girl starts looking at me, I don't want to wait that long. I don't want to wait around, and because the longer I wait, the more likely I'm going to get in my head, the more reasons I'm going to come up with, the more anxious I'll feel. And eventually I'll either approach and mess it up, or I'll approach, or I won't approach at all. Or she'll leave, or something like that. And then I'll wish I would have approached, even if I failed. So I would say, give it maybe a 5-second countdown, maybe 10, but you can stand back and like monitor a little while. But I would say if they're making eye contact with you, that is the go ahead. That's the green light. Go ahead, make an approach. They're looking at you, waiting for you to do something. And that's generally when I have the most success, is when I can tell they've looked at me, and that's like, okay, I'm going in. I'm good. Even if I don't know what I'm going to say, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out once I start talking to them. Even if it's just like, hi. It's better than nothing. So, and I definitely feel better when I've tried and failed than when I don't try at all and wish I would have. Because at least I know, and I learn from it, and it only makes me better. And I've been getting progressively calmer, less anxious, less anxiety, because it's like, what's the worst that can happen? They reject you. They're not going to come after you. They're probably not going to harm you for doing it. So you feel, yes, if they reject you, it does hurt. But, it's not the end of the world, and it ultimately makes you stronger. Just like when you go to the gym. You go to the gym and you start working out and you feel growing pains. It hurts. It's not a pleasant experience. But eventually you learn to love the pain, you learn to love the growth, and that is what will keep you going. So that's my opinion of it, and I'm gonna keep making approaches until I get another girlfriend, and hopefully see where it goes. But I think more guys out there should get used to it and get off of dating apps and just put themselves out there, level up their characters in real life. Quit playing video games, quit wasting your time in these virtual worlds, and actually level yourself up in the real world. Get real world skills that are going to translate to tangible things, so that you can just have a more fulfilling and more successful life, and a life that you didn't blow away by doing things that just distract you and keep you in a hypnotic mindset. So at least that's what I'm trying to do. So, and to be quite honest, since I've really been pushing, it's worked out quite well for me. So that's my 2 cents, and on whether or not to approach girls. So yeah, I'll see you in the next one.